Look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death, 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 horrible death. Death, I don't know. To pick anyone, white South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all.
We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that are.
Imagine if a bunch of if people from the southern border, if people were to bring up articles about the deaths of people from the southern border, would he have that same energy? I don't know. You tell me. You tell me.
Allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can take land.
And then when they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
Nothing happens to them.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now been utilizing.
That's good point there. Good point. Let's make sure that Trump's very, very clear that it's not just white people that get murdered in South Africa. It's going to be majority black people. But I think Donald Trump's going to play to the point that this is a white genocide, so he's going to focus on the white minority in this instance.
The farmers are not black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black.
Is he stating that there's no black farmers in South Africa?
And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed. Their heads chopped off, they died violently. And, you know, I mean, we're here to talk about it, and I didn't know we'd get involved here.
We've been tracking some high tensions at the White House as President Trump meets with his South African counterpart, President Cyril Ramaphosa. The face-to-face is happening just days after a group of white South Africans were granted refugee status in the United States, a highly controversial move.
That's right. And just moments ago, President Trump repeated an unverified claim that they have been subject to genocide, which South Africa vehemently denies. Let's get right to CNN's Kristen Holmes, who is at the White House. And Kristen, I know that you've been listening to this play out. Walk us through what happened.
Yeah, this is growing increasingly more and more tense. We saw that the South African president came here with a real charm offensive. He was complimenting Donald Trump, saying that he wanted to reset relations, but things have really taken a turn. Now, all of this is about what you just brought up, which is this claim from President Trump that there is white genocide in South Africa. It is about the fact that there are white Afrikaners that Trump says are being pushed out of their land and being killed, something that the South African government denies. Now, Donald Trump was asked by a reporter in the room, what would it take for you to change your opinion on this, for you to see things differently? And the president of South Africa interrupted him, saying, I'll take that one. I think what's going to help Donald Trump is talking to the delegation that I brought with me, that they will tell him that there is no white genocide in South Africa at this time. Part of the delegation there includes two world famous golfers, people who apparently, according to the South African president, Donald Trump asked to come along. Then, in what appears to be somewhat of an ambush, because they were clearly prepared for it, the White House, Donald Trump asks them to dim the lights, and they play a video, which they say is a documentary or news clips that show that there is white genocide. Now, just moments ago, when you guys came on the air, there was an official from South Africa trying to explain what was being seen in that video, saying that these are members of an opposition party, that this is not the government that is calling for the death of white farmers or for the death of white Afrikaners in South Africa. But this is clearly growing more and more tense. And I can tell you, I mean, this was a man, the president of South Africa, who came prepared to court Donald Trump, but I don't think he came prepared for this. He knew exactly what to say in terms of trying to ingratiate himself with the president. He talked about how they brought him a book of all of his big golf courses, how he's been taking lessons on golfing because Donald Trump told him to, that he brought these two world famous golfers with him, saying that he thank you for what you did during COVID, all of the right things. And then we saw this situation start to escalate. Now, remember, this was being billed as a trade meeting, but we knew that this topic was going to come up. This is, as you said, just right after a group of 50 refugees, white South African farmers, were brought into the U.S., granted that refugee status. And Donald Trump continues to say that we have thousands of people.
Just want to point out that there's remember, we in America or anywhere, we find it very difficult to classify what's going on between Israel and Gaza as a genocide. But it's so easy, it's so simple, right, to say that there's a genocide of white people going on in South Africa. That's and what's going on, if you listen to what actually these murders or what have you, it doesn't even fit. It's not even close to what would be considered internationally as a genocide. This is just one of those things when you see people that look like you die. When you see unfortunate events happen and they just so happen to be white, and you're the president of the United States, you have more sympathy for people who look like you than you do for people that don't. I think this is a clear example of that.
Telling us that they are fleeing South Africa because of what he says is genocide. The White House was very prepared for this line of attack. It's not just the videos. I've been watching on social media as the rapid response team has. And
also, we just want to point out that if there is in order for there to be a genocide, there has to be like an actual, like, somebody actually, you would have to prove that South Africa is literally attempting to cleanse South Africa of white farmers.
Been putting out article after article after article as this is going. Donald Trump was holding articles that he had printed out to show headlines that he said purported white genocide. Again, the government is saying there is no white genocide. There is overall, and there is no evidence of that we have either. This is an unsubstantiated claim. This all stems from this idea that the land is being seized away from white farmers, and that is why they have been granted refugee status to come into the country because they fear being killed as well. There was a question about that. Donald Trump kind of brushed that off as well, saying that anyone facing persecution could come to the U.S. and that they had welcomed everyone. But this is growing increasingly heated and increasingly tense after starting off with seemingly pleasantries. And this is not the first time we've seen this happening in these bilateral meetings in the Oval Office, where they start off, again, two people trying to have a discussion in front of the cameras, and then it has completely devolved into fighting. And again, you're now seeing other members of the delegation stepping in, saying that they want to clarify what's in the video. You have Donald Trump doubling down, tripling down on this idea. And it's still, as far as I can tell, I'm looking here, I think it is still going on right now. And this has been, I mean, it's been roughly 45 minutes of this, but probably the most surprising and certainly not normal part of these kind of interaction was the bringing in of this video and playing it for the South African president to say almost I gotcha moment of here's the evidence against you.
I'm sorry, I didn't see your
yeah, and apparently the president describing what was in the video, a series of white crosses, as having been grave sites. That was refuted by some of the African delegation in the room, suggesting that this was more of a political demonstration, as you outlined. Kristen Holmes from the White House will let you keep monitoring that event for us. Let's bring in CNN's Larry Madowo. Larry, you've obviously been covering South Africa for some time. Can you give us context to that video that the president played in the Oval Office? I understand that this was a political demonstration, not actual grave sites.
That was a lot to take in. almost everything President Donald Trump said was inaccurate or immediately debunked. And showing these videos that are historical in nature and without context did make President Ramaphosa uncomfortable. He actually struggled to watch them. We have looked into the data and we have found no evidence of a white genocide in South Africa. Between April and December 2024, there were about just over 30 murders at farms in South Africa. Only 7 of them were of farmers. South Africa does not release crime statistics by race, but the farmers tend to be white. The workers at these farms tend to be black. So even South Africa's own data does not show any evidence of any white genocide that President Ramaphosa has tried to explain to President Trump. What President Trump has said increasingly is that their land is being seized from them and they're getting executed. And he showed that video of this 1,000 crosses. I've been covering South Africa for 15 years. I've lived and worked in South Africa. I know many South African friends. I spoke to President Ramaphosa last week, and he told me something that he repeated at that Oval Office meeting to President Trump, that we were taught at the feet of Nelson Mandela. If there's an issue, we talk about it, and we agree. President Ramaphosa also told me last week that he'd explained this to President Trump, that when they have an issue, they discuss it. And that's why there's no evidence of this genocide that he's talking about. And South Africa, he said, is the only country in Africa where the colonizers came to stay and they've never driven them out. So all of these videos, the presentation that he made, the multimedia ambush that they've just presented with these videos and the printouts, and you can see the agriculture minister from South Africa, from the DA, that is the white majority party that has traditionally opposed the African National Congress party of President Ramaphosa. They're in a coalition government, and the agriculture minister is sitting there explaining that this is not true. What the videos show is Julius Malema, the far left opposition leader of South Africa. His party is called the Economic Freedom Fighters, and it also showed former President Jacob Zuma. What Julius Malema was singing, "Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer," was an anti-apartheid song from the struggle against white minority rule in South Africa. They've explained that this is not a literal attack, call to attack and kill the farmer because of the historical nature of that. But it's been weaponized by groups in South Africa and increasingly by the MAGA right in the United States to essentially misrepresent what is going on in the country, Brianna.
Also of note, Larry, can you speak? We heard there, and he was just sort of in the forefront of the camera shot, the agriculture minister, because it seemed that President Ramaphosa was kind of trying to show up with some backup, which is one of his ministers who is white, who is not from the same party as him, John Steenhuisen. Talk a little bit about that, as he was saying that black farmers have been affected by violence as well, and that this is really part of a larger.
Yeah, that's my thing. I want to see if I can find I don't know if it's still live. I don't know when this actual video was shot or was made by CNN. But I wonder if I can find something live about it. But I think that, and that's also hilarious. It's not hilarious actually, but I feel like I find it interesting that every time the White House or Donald Trump makes a claim, they can never ever provide any source, any facts. If there's a white genocide, which would mean that there's a government in South Africa that is literally targeting a minority group of white people, white farmers in particular. If there's evidence to prove that, then you should be able to produce that easily. But every time this administration accuses somebody of doing something, they never have the evidence to prove it. And there are also black farmers who've been dying towards violence towards them. So I don't see this white genocide. Nothing that they explained or showed meets any kind of qualifiers to be a white genocide. But again, it's so easy for Donald Trump and the right MAGA to classify what's going on or that as a genocide, but God forbid it's Gaza, because they refuse to call that a genocide.
Issue of violence, murder rate, by the way, in South Africa, multitudes the factor of what it is in the U.S., just as a reference point. Talk a little bit about that agriculture minister and what we heard.
Right, that Agriculture Minister, John Steenhuisen, who is from the Democratic Alliance, the opposition party that's in coalition with the President Ramaphosa's ANC party, he explicitly said that the reason why he joined President Ramaphosa's government is to make sure that these extremist elements within the South African political scene don't get into power. He's referring to Julius Malema and former President Jacob Zuma. But he's in this position is interesting because he has repeatedly supported President Ramaphosa's argument that there is no white genocide. Otherwise, he would not be in a government that was carrying out these seizing land from white farmers and executing them, as President Trump believes. And the fact that he's the agriculture minister is especially important because
I'm trying to.
For you to be convinced that there's no genocide.
Thank you, Mr. President. So May 25th will be the celebration of Africa Day, which pretty much a lot of celebration will be taking place around the world, including here in the United States. What is your message to the entire African continent, African people in this important occasion?
Well, I want to see peace, and I want to see happiness. I want to see health, and you have incredible land. There's tremendous value. A lot of countries don't have that value in the land, the value you have. We have a situation, I think you probably heard about it. We've done, through some very talented people, helped settle a war that's been raging for years, Rwanda and the Congo. And I think we've done it. Believe it or not, I think we've done it. And could you just say a few words about that, my friend?
Yes. A couple of weeks ago, the two parties signed a declaration of principle in which they agreed on the way forward, and they have both submitted draft peace agreements, and we have put together one that incorporates both of their suggestions, and we've given it to them. So we're in the process of finalizing
Looking
this.
good, right?
Looking very good.
No, we have to thank you for even those efforts, because the African continent, particularly SADC, our Southern African Development Community, has for years been seeking to foster peace in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So all efforts, including those from outside the continent and inside the continent, are really worthwhile. We are removing our troops from there so that peace can then prevail in that whole area. And we hope that with the support of the international community, we will really have peace in that area. It's so vital, it's so important for the whole region.
Well, we sent our people there, and I think we did a very good job. I said it by my friend, and that was great. That was great. I mean, I'm just hearing phenomenal reports, because all I'm hearing is death, and they're chopping heads off, and it's horrible over there. And it was really brave of you to go there, and I really appreciate it. And it looks like we have something very, very substantial. We also talked about trade with them in terms of rare earth and all, but really more for it's like, if you take a look at what we just did with Pakistan and India, we settled that whole thing, and I think I settled it through trade. We're doing a big deal with India, we're doing a big deal with Pakistan, and I said, what are you guys doing? Somebody had to be the last one to shoot, but the shooting was...
I just want to point this out. There is a report from India directly that Donald J. Trump and America had absolutely zero to do with the ceasefire. Maybe it was suggested, but they actually had zero. We had nothing. We had nothing to do with that ceasefire. Just FYI. This is, once again, something happens in the world that randomly Donald Trump wants to take credit for. I will never understand. He's just, yeah, exactly. He's just throwing it out there.
It's getting worse and worse, bigger and bigger, deeper and deeper into the countries, and we spoke to him, and I think I hate to say we got it settled, and then 2 days later, something happens, and they say it's Trump's fault. But Pakistan has got some excellent people and some really good, great leader. And India is my friend, Modi. And he's a
mutual friend.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And I called them both, and we just did something good. We're trying to settle Russia, Ukraine. Spoke with President Putin for 2.5 hours the day before yesterday. I think we made a lot of progress, but that's...
I wonder if he's going to mention Joe Biden. I wonder It's been 3 minutes and 43 seconds into this video. I haven't heard Joe Biden yet. I'm actually surprised. I'm impressed. Let's see if he mentions the previous administration.
It's a bloodbath. 5,000 people are being killed a week. 5,000 soldiers a week, not including people in cities and towns that are also being killed. So we're trying to help. And it doesn't affect us. It's not our people. It's not our soldiers. It's not our. It's Ukraine and it's Russia. But if we can save 5,000 souls, we'll do it. You know, we're pretty good at it. But that's a bad situation. That is a really bad situation.
Well, you'll recall when President Zelensky was coming to South Africa, that's when I spoke to you.
That's right.
We both agreed that we need to push the peace message so that there can really be peace. And we've been involved in the Ukraine-Russia conflict for quite a while. Through my Minister of State Security here, we've been dealing with them, the exchange of children who were taken away, going through names and addresses and all that. So we've been invested in that whole process as well. And the moves that you're making are fully supported by us because we would like to see the end of that war.
It's true. I called Zelensky and they said, he's in South Africa. I said, what the hell is he doing in South Africa?
He was talking to us.
We got this straight. That's a strange one. I said, what are you doing in South Africa?
Yes.
That's a strange one.
He's trying to make peace. Or we're taking him. You know, we were lucky because we had the great Nelson Mandela who taught us how to create peace, to make peace. So we were imparting some of those lessons to him, some of those learnings. And I specifically mentioned to him that this is how Nelson Mandela taught us. That when you want to have a peace in a country, do it on an unconditional basis and sit down.
We live in a capitalist society, so
and that's precisely what I'm sure he's going to heed.
Well, we're going to see what happens with that one. It's there's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of death. It's a bloodbath.
It is.
I get the
unfortunately.
I get the satellite pictures of that field, of that killing field. You never saw anything like it in your life. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing that goes on, but I think we've made big progress. Yeah, please, go ahead. No, not you. Right here.
Not you. Not you.
He's from South Africa.
Not you.
Go ahead, please.
What are you expecting on the ICJ case? Are you expecting South Africa to drop that? Is that what you're trying to do?
On which case?
The ICJ
The International
case
Criminal Justice.
I have no idea what it is.
To be honest, I really don't. I don't know. It's they've got a case. There's a lot of anger there, tremendous anger. I don't expect anything. We'll see what happens. We'll have a ruling, and who knows what the ruling is going to be.
He doesn't know.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
On that subject,
He doesn't know. Why?
Mr. President.
I think it's okay for the president of the United States to say, I have no idea what you're fucking talking about. I mean, that's what I would say. If I don't know something, I'd rather say, I have no idea what you're talking about instead of fucking sitting there making an ass out of yourself. Like, you couldn't even wing it. Like, you couldn't even, like, try to. Why didn't he just steamroll it like he always does?
Are you going to be speaking to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Israel's renewed offensive there? There's been a lot of concern from European countries. The Pope has expressed concern. Are you going to be asking Prime Minister Netanyahu to tone down the offensive in Gaza to let more aid in?
Was that a question or a statement?
It's a question.
This guy's, you never change.
Mr. President, what would it take for you to be convinced
That was a
there's
question.
no right genocide in South Africa?
Does he not know basic English?
Well, I can answer that for the President. It's,
What?
For him, no, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me-
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's going to let. I think the last thing I heard Donald Trump change his narrative. He said Netanyahu. He told Netanyahu to wrap it up. Like, okay. It's like, all right, yeah, great pressure. Nice. I wrap it up. I'm pretty sure he got the message.
Like those who are here, when we have talks between us on the around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that
Yeah, can we have him? That's perfectly said. Can he be our president? Can we
We have
adopt him?
thousands
I would
of
like to adopt
stories
him.
talking about it.
Sure.
And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that, is Natalie here? Somebody here to turn that?
You think
I
he's
could show you
chucking
a
and
couple of
jiving.
things, and I have to, it has to be
I feel like he's just
responded to.
being
So we have-
diplomatic or
Let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down. Turn the
Oh, shit, here
lights
comes the
down,
video. I don't
and
know
just
if
put
anybody's
this
seen
on,
it.
it's right behind you. Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you,
That's a
from
nice
the
video.
president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. We don't ever want to do.
Put it. Yeah, Donald Trump says that. Ramaphosa. He's stating that there isn't a. That's one of the reasons he's here to try to tell. He's telling the president that there's no genocide. There's no white genocide in South Africa. There's literally no proof that there's a white genocide in Africa. That's what the South African Africa president said earlier. Like apparently the two people in the corner, they wouldn't be with him if there was. He's saying if there was a genocide, those people would not be with him. I can rewind it a bit.
Can we draw my membership from this useless parliament?
Yeah, Trump says he thinks it's a white genocide. He's saying it's not a white genocide.
To kill a revolution demands that at some
That's true.
point
They are white.
killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Shoot to kill Ramaphosa, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer,
I wish we could see the actual fucking video, because this video is definitely making him uncomfortable.
Because you have turned a white man. Not because Mashaba and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched, no one. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness. Shoot to kill Ramaphosa. Kill the brewer, the farmer. Kill the brewer, the farmer.
Are we not going to be able to see this video? I don't want to just keep hearing a bunch of screaming.
Burial sites, right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross. And there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it.
You never seen graveyards before?
Both sides of the road, you have crosses.
That's fucking crazy. You should go down to like Montrose, Virginia.
Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen. But okay.
I mean, it's in South Africa, that's where.
We need to find out.
Yo, South African president, I feel like he's getting angry. I can sense the like anger. Ramaphosa is getting. I think he's getting annoyed. And that's the thing. Apparently, those grave sites. I wish they would have fucking just showed the video. I don't know why they won't turn a little bit to the fucking left, or their right, or wherever to show the damn video. But like apparently that's already technically been debunked. About those grave sites not actually being what he's saying that they are.
Okay.
Mr. President, the Pentagon announced that it would be
Bro, I swear to God. No, I'm not gonna say.
accepting a Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that man, like he doesn't, because he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know where it's at. He's being told, hey, this has happened, shown a clip, and just believes it.
You ought to get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatari jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing. They also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back, you ought to go back to your studio at NBC because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network, and you're a disgrace. No more questions from you. Go ahead.
Silencing the press, already?
Go ahead, talk about that. His name is Peter something. He's a terrible reporter. Quiet. Let's go.
Thank you so much. President Trump, Anna Disaster from EMCA in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Steve.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days.
1 second.
Death about that. His name is Peter something. He's a terrible reporter. Quiet. Let's go.
Thank you so much. President Trump, Anna Disaster from EMCA in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Steve.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look,
what?
These are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death. Horrible death. Death. I don't know. To pick anyone, white South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all, I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do. Look at this. White South African couple say that they were attacked violently. And,
President Trump, when will you go and see for yourself if it is indeed true?
well, I could do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place.
No, it's not that you can't do. You should do this. If you're literally going to host this and have this here where you're going to pump out misinformation about something that's going on in another place, in another part of the world, maybe you should go down there and actually fucking go and see if this is true or not. This is the crazy part about this. Every single person is going to eat this up alive. This is why I'm glad I'm not on TikTok. My blood will probably be boiling because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of Republicans hosting lives that is going to eat this shit up and being like, yeah, see, there's a white genocide going down in South Africa, and Donald J. Trump, he had the articles and the pictures to show it. He won't even read one of those motherfucking articles, I guarantee you. Just go down there. If I'm concerned about a white genocide going somewhere else, happening somewhere else in the world, maybe I would go down there to see if that's actually factual. I would never, ever, as the President of the United States, invite misinformation into the Oval Office. I would have my people clarify, validate all these reports before this even fucking hits before it even hits my damn desk. And the fact that the shit's being debunked not only by people here in the United States, but by South Africa itself, he's a fucking fool. He's a fucking idiot. Why would he do some stupid? Well, that's not Trump. Why am I asking about it?
These are all white farmers that are being buried. And he asks about
First of all, it's called balls. You don't have to censor yourself here. You don't have to be a coward. You can say balls. You don't got the balls to get back on TikTok. You're blocked.
jet that was given. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter. This is one after another. This family was wiped out. I'm just looking.
Can we get a response from President Ramaphosa,
Your
please?
reaction to those videos, Mr. President?
President Trump,
Well, I think the videos are so. No. When you look at the videos, I mean, how does it get worse? And these are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's what. And I have other friends in South Africa.
That's
people that
literally
left. One in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land and take your.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's from the river to the sea. It's being misinterpreted as a threat towards the Jewish community or Jewish people or Israel, people from Israel, right? I believe that's what it is. This, what he just said, was a similar song. It's being misinterpreted because of what's actually happening. That is being misinterpreted as somebody trying to instigate violence against white farmers. Once again, misinformation.
Land and they kill you. It's okay, and they say it's okay to do. Now, we're going to talk about it, but this is a tremendous, look, this is a story recent. These are all people that recently got killed.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it can get any worse. These are, and you know, the men that you saw, the people that you saw.
Yeah, Phoenix 100. I understand that, right? I think just come to a point. I'm actually tired of it too. There are so many black and brown people around the world going through similar shit, even worse. Haiti's not a great place, but they were willing to strip away the temporary protection or temporary legal status for the Haitian Americans that were here, decreasing the time that they had here, and just brought in was it 49 white Afrikaners? Like, that's crazy to me. Again, it comes down to, because it looks like him, because it looks like them, they have more empathy or sympathy for these people. Like, it's difficult for me to actually take this whole entire thing seriously. If I look into it, there's no genocide that's happening. I can't find anything. I can't find anything that says there's a genocide going on in Gaza. There's a genocide going on in South Africa right now, specifically a white.
Those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march. They had a.
Yeah, and I honestly think we should. I mean, I get the sentiment of not giving a fuck, because honestly, I was like, I kind of, my only concern is how this looks is how this is going to present people, the black people in South Africa, how this is going to once again perceive black people in general, because we know what happens to them overseas. People would apply that shit over here in the States. So what I want people to figure out is, or what people to see, is the fucking misinformation that's going on here. Again, he's saying all this shit. He's saying all this shit right there, but he has yet to validate any of it.
A dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
Well, let me clarify that.
Terrible. Yeah,
let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
No, nobody can take land.
And then when they take the land.
No, absolutely not. There's a law that's in place in South Africa that's stating that they're able to acquire abandoned land or underused land. They're not actively taking land. Like if I had land and I was using it, they're not going to come and take my land. They're looking at abandoned lands that are not or are abandoned or is not currently being in use. That's what they're using, or underutilized land. Simple as that. Once again, misinformation. And once again, President of the United States making a fucking ass out of himself in front of everybody.
They killed the white farmer, and when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
nothing happens to them.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed.
What he's basically trying to say is that he's calling South Africa a lawless shithole because white people die and nobody answers for it, which is completely fucking false. But again, this just goes back to the fact that if you look at who they brought over because they look like him, he's more sympathetic to it. He's going to believe anything. Somebody can say white people are being unalived in Gaza right now. He'll probably go to Gaza and specifically get the white people out.
Unfortunately, through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now been utilized.
The farmers are not.
Exactly, Phoenix, and if people have time, I don't know if people are still, I know you're in here. If you have time, go look at it. It's the fact that there are black farmers that are being harmed by violence too. They exist, but he only cares about the white farmers. That's it. Again, when it talks about, he only cares about people that look like him. And I know a lot of people hate talking about race and shit like that, but it is what it is. I don't see any other way around it. This is what it is.
Black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed. Their heads chopped off.
Killed in, so you're telling me those thousands and thousands of grave sites were people who died as a result of a genocide, or were they just people going to pay respects to people who have already died in the past? Yeah, I don't know.
They died violently, and we're here to talk about it, and I didn't know we'd get involved here, but I will say this, that if the news wasn't fake like NBC, which
I think, Phoenix, I think what the problem is what happened with Zelensky. I think there is people want to come out because there's information that's coming out saying that South Africa is allowing a genocide of white people. The president, I believe, has come over not only to speak about deals and shit like that, but to talk about that. And he knows that if he pushes a certain button, Trump's guard dog, what's his name? Fucking JD Vance is gonna pop up and say, please don't talk to our fucking commander-in-chief like that. He has massive balls, and you will not talk about my president like that.
which is fake news, totally. One of the worst. ABC, NBC, CBS, horrible. But if they weren't fake news like this jerk that we have here, if we had real reporters, they'd be covering it. But the fake news in this country doesn't talk about that. They don't want to talk about it, but now they have to talk about it. But they won't. This won't even be a subject. They'll have him talking about why did a country give a free, think of this, why did a country give an airplane to the United States Air Force? Okay.
You can also, he can also just ignore the fucking question and continue to talk about what the reason everybody's here for. He doesn't have to fucking address that question. He doesn't have to. So many other reporters are talking. If you don't want to listen to the question, pick somebody else. His own ego gets in his fucking way sometimes. He doesn't have to address those fucking comments or those fucking questions whatsoever. He looks like a fucking idiot every time he criticizes CNN, NBC, MSNBC. He doesn't understand that you're just giving them more views. So, I mean, I guess, yeah.
Not to me, to the United States Air Force, so they could help us out because...
And another thing, no, those are not, I believe that man said it earlier. Yeah, they're not, that's going into the library. It's going to Trump's library. You're not going to convince me that a $400 million jet is not going to be used by Donald Trump once he's done with his presidency. Absolutely the fuck not. Absolutely not. used by the Air Force. Taloka used by the Air Force. That's bullshit. That's bullshit, and he fucking knows it. Reports came in today that Pentagon did accept the 400 the jet earlier, but we all know what that's going to be used for. It's damn sure not going to be the next Air Force One.
We need an Air Force One until
Oh wow!
since Air Force One is being built.
Literally,
2 of them being built, but Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish I did. I take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But coming back to this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly. We were taught by Nelson Mandela that when
I just want to point this out, if Barack Obama or Joe Biden would have accepted something like that, they would have got their heads ripped off by the media. Period, point blank. Just want to say.
whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about them.
Well, there are
and this is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States,
those are all recent. Those are all deaths.
Yeah, in many ways, I mean, one should say you are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about. Let me just add quickly, you know,
I know. I'm sorry, I'm almost done. I just really hopped online
experiencing our country
just to cover this because I heard this was
quite a lot
happening.
of
So I just
technological
wanted to make a quick
capability.
Live and probably
in
make
one
sure
of
I
our
put a video
areas
later
in South Africa, we're using US technology.
I might hang out for a
which
bit.
is
But
able
thank you
to,
for,
in many
thank you
ways,
for hanging in there.
identify.
You don't
where
have
shootings are
to. Thank you.
happening and all
I
that.
thank you for
And I'd
your
like to
support.
talk about that because there is support
Please
that
protect
we
your
can get
views.
from you
Please
and
protect
the
your
United States to help us deal with all these acts of criminality. And that is what I believe partnership is all about. And we are here as a partner so that we can help each other whenever there are challenges. So I'd like us to discuss it, and of course outside of the media, so that we sit down and have a really good discussion that will lead to good outcomes.
One at a time.
Measures that could be in place should you not be satisfied that South Africa is fixing some of the very bad things in the comments that you tweeted are happening?
Well, there are a lot of bad things happening in many countries, but this in particular has been very, very bad, and because of we're going to have the whole world watching in another.
False claims of white genocide, very, very bad. Genocide still happening in Gaza? Nah, that's not as bad as a white genocide that hasn't been proven or has been debunked of actually happening. War in Ukraine, innocent people dying in Ukraine because Putin has a hard on for just being a fucking destructive prick. No, that's okay. It's not as bad as false claims or invalid or misinformation about a white genocide going down on in fucking South Africa. What? We have people in the El Salvador prison that shouldn't be back there, that we were told, that the country was told, that the administration was told to come bring to get those back. Nah, fuck it. Let them die in that El Salvador prison. There's a quote unquote white genocide going down there in South Africa right now. This is stupid. This is dumb.
Short period of time because you have the G20, and that's a big deal. And it seems like, I want you to look
exactly.
good. I don't want you to look bad.
Very good.
But we have hundreds of people, thousands of people.
Yeah, the reason he's not looking bad at this point is because the whole entire world, everybody's already researched this. What I really need individuals to understand, go research shit, but everybody's already researched this and debunked it. Everywhere you go, there'll be a Republican starting to say that this is happening. There'll be hundreds and hundreds of fact checks. There'll be hundreds and hundreds of actual accounters that'll say that this is not fucking happening. That Donald Trump is full of shit. He needs to stop listening to his fucking cabinet of cucks that's just going to tell him what he wants to hear.
Trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed.
I think the only reason that it's entertained is because I think the South African president did say he had other matters of visiting Donald Trump, but I feel like this particular is entertained because like kind of the same way that we would respond to oh shit, kind of the same way that we would respond to bullshit when it comes about talking about our community, about immigration, about transgender issues, about things like we would address that. So I'm not upset, or I'm not like, you know, I'm not like trying to figure out why the South African president is doing or is entertaining this. If somebody's talking about my country and is accusing people, my people, of committing genocide against white people, then I would probably have some words for that person. I think he's being a little bit too nice, but we all know what happens when you're not nice in the Oval Office.
And their land is going to be confiscated. And you do have laws that will
J.D. Vance will jizz his pants.
pass that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that because we have a constitution. Our constitution guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership. And that constitution protects all South Africans with regard to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing that.
And we've never really gotten underway with that. And we are going to be doing so.
You're taking people's land away
we have not.
from them.
We have,
and those people, in many cases, are being executed. They're being executed. And they happen to be white, and most of them happen to be farmers. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that. How do you explain that? They're taking people's land away, and in many cases, those people are being executed. And in many cases, it's not the government that's doing it. It's people that kill them and then take their land, and nothing happens to them. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country. They're also going to Australia in a smaller number. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country, and they're white farmers, and they feel that they're going to die in South Africa, and it's a bad thing. Yeah.
Hey, okay, that one's done. Yeah, impeach, please. We should. This is fucking embarrassing. I don't see how you're a Republican and listen to this shit. It's fucking embarrassing. It couldn't be me. It couldn't be me, you know, supporting a president who's literally lying to my face right now and trying to tell me when there's actual facts out there that there's land being taken from people. Like the South African government is literally knocking on white farmers' doors and it's like, give me your land. When you can actually go look this shit up yourself. You're the president of the United States and you're telling me that you can't get people to actually fact check the bullshit that hits your desk before you decide to have a press conference meeting about it in the fucking Oval Office? Okay. I guess that's just me. Yeah, he is only doing what people are. And unfortunately, unfortunately, this is we got another three and a half years. Or damn, that's a long way. 3.5 years of this bullshit, of the lies, of the deceits. Nobody gives a fuck because let me delete this real quick. It's Donald J. Trump. That is the sad part. That is extremely the sad part. I'm hoping it won't be, honestly. I mean, we could talk about impeachment. A lot of people are like, no, don't talk about impeachment. You know, it's not gonna. No, it's like, I'm all for it. Talk about impeachment. Why not? Uh-oh. God damn. What am I? I was doing something. What was I doing? I was about to do something. Am I going to watch my normal videos? To the left. me frustrate some people more.
2015, 2016, Bernie Sanders was not very, but he was different from 2020 Bernie Sanders. 2020 Bernie Sanders, I feel that he felt he had no choice but to infuse his campaign.
I just want to let you know real quick that this is just a quick video about like no, I'm not. I have not seen The Last of Us yet.
With the identity,
I haven't gone through the first season yet.
Politics in order to, keep the identity obsessed off his back when, he wants to focus on the bread and butter economic issues that honestly appeals to a much broader base of voters. But nonetheless, let's take a look at how that part of the conversation went down.
We have a question we want to ask about what happened to you in 2016 with this Bernie Bros movement, where your followers are seeing they have a racism problem, a misogyny problem. Do you think that's a super PAC thing behind that?
That was the Democratic establishment.
During this election, the podcast space, which the Democrats largely avoided, they feel had some influence in the election, and they started to label us the podcast bros, and said that we were sexist and we were racist and bigoted. It's almost like it's the exact same strategy to get you out of there.
Yeah, that's what the liberal elite China does. And then you get to what we call identity politics. That you're black, you're wonderful, you're tremendous, you're gay, you're the greatest human being on earth.
Yeah.
And rather than say, what do you stand for?
Exactly.
You're gay, that's fine, who cares?
Yeah.
But what do you stand for?
I love that Senator Sanders focused on, the content of someone's character, what someone stands for politically speaking, what their objectives are, when they're pursuing a position of power.
See, that's interesting, though, because when we look at what does this guy stand for, that Bernie's on his podcast.
Well, he's the one saying, say whatever the fuck you want. So now conservatives have become Democrats. So I don't think I've changed. I just like the dudes that get pussy and say whatever they want. So it's you want me to be a Democrat again? Get some pussy. Tell me to say whatever I want.
Okay.
I remember Andrew Schultz. I remember that. I remember hearing that one. I was like, this is the guy that, this is the guy that people like to go on podcasts with. Because of his big ass platform. I guess I got a question. Like, my question is, how far do we go as like a party, or should our elected officials go? Should they be joining podcasts like these? Should they just entertain individuals like Andrew Schultz or Joe Rogan, those extreme right individuals? Like, I know a lot of people, Kamala Harris got a lot of flack for not going on opposition podcasts like Donald Trump did, although Donald Trump didn't really go on an opposition podcast. But I honestly feel like that I don't see the point in it. It's not going to move the needle, to the left or to the right. If Kamala was running for president again, and she goes on podcasts like Andrew Schultz, or she goes on podcasts like Joe Rogan, it's not going to make a fucking difference. It doesn't matter who the Democratic nominee is coming up. It doesn't matter if it's Pete Buttigieg. It doesn't matter if it's I forget the guy who just got the damn DNC vice chair. It doesn't matter who it is. It's not going to move the needle. This place is it's leaning. This country's moving a little bit too far, too center right, for that type of shit to matter.
Okay. So it's your character. It's what you're about that's important, right? But not for Andrew Schultz, right? You're supposed to get along with these guys? I mean, that's confusing, isn't it? It's about your character, but not for the podcast bros, right?
Because that does matter the most. It absolutely matters the most.
Okay.
Sides switched so much. When I was younger, like, Democrats were cool. They were getting their dick sucked in the office. They were like, right? They were like supportive of like hip hop music. They said,
see, right there, what he said. Look at what he says. Democrats were cool. They were getting their dick sucked in office by a fucking intern that was being taken advantage of, that like felt like she couldn't say no, right?
Exactly. Like, these are the type of individuals that they want us to entertain. If I was running for office, I wouldn't be caught dead on an Andrew Schultz podcast. I would probably be more inclined to join people like Political Punk, I would be more inclined to even join. I mean, people that aren't necessarily liked, but like somebody at least with some sense, some sort of like humanity, some common sense, some sort of self respect. It's not cool to say that shit. It doesn't make you look cool. You're not a badass to grown ass adults. Maybe the 16-year-olds, Andrew Schultz. People he might relate more to 16-year-old boys who talk like that on the Call of Duty lobby. But when it comes to grown ass adults, like we don't talk like that. We don't really talk like that. Like, I mean, okay, let me roll that back. Some dudes do talk like that. Some dudes do talk like that. But the majority of grown ass adults who actually give a fuck about their own image doesn't talk like that. Grown ass adults with respect don't talk like that. So he probably relates, or probably what's the point of going to that podcast if he's got a audience of 19-year-olds? It's pointless. They can barely vote.
So yeah, of course this guy voted for Trump because hello, misogyny much? Right? Like what in the actual bro? Right? You know what I mean? Like he's pining back to the days of when the Democrats used to sexually abuse their interns and extract blow from them because the woman couldn't say no or felt like she couldn't say no. He thinks that's cool. It's like, dude, come on. Of course this guy voted for Trump.
Yeah, it's called rape culture. That's what that's called. It's called rape culture. And it exists. It exists, unfortunately. And Andrew Schultz is a prime example of that. You can say shit like that and not get you. You want to know why cancel culture exists? It's because of people like Andrew Schultz. It's because of people who say stupid shit like that. And Andrew Tate. What is up with people name Andrew? But it's always called. It's always people like that. That's why cancel culture exists. That's why cancel culture is never gonna go away, because individuals like this, they say stupid shit like this, and they're surprised that they're getting mass reported on X, or now they're being canceled in every event. Nobody wants to have any more deals or sponsorships with you because you're fucking misogynistic pig.
This guy, not our friend, dude. This guy would have Andrew Tate on his show. Okay, this guy would be like, oh,
I didn't name drop Andrew before he did.
Oh, I kind of agree with some of the shit Tate says. That's what this guy said.
Do whatever you want. Like, we don't want to be in your bedroom. They were cool with gay people. Like, it was cool to be a Democrat. Now, conservatives got 3 baby mamas. The president got 3 baby mamas. He's getting pussy left and right. Right? He's cool. He's the one saying, say whatever the fuck you want. So now,
dude, he's not cool. Like, Trump is not cool. Okay? He's got like multiple adulterous relationships. The women in his life are only there for the money. Yeah. He didn't father his kids. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's had mob ties, multiple bankruptcies, abused people that work for him, that built his casino, and then he f***ed him out of paying him. Like, bro, really? Like, there's nothing about Trump that is cool unless you're a fucking degenerate white male, right? A degenerate white male who wants to be able to be a prick and have no fucking consequences. Then you look at Trump and he's like your patron fucking saint, right? Even him calling it, he gets pussy. Like, dude, what are we, right? He said he takes pussy and he doesn't even ask for consent.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Moral of the story here. I'm about to end this stream. But fuck. I really this is really the first portion of this stream that I really wanted to play. I just decided, let me go see what Punk's did. I do not. I absolutely do not. I am fine in my own domain. I am perfectly fine in my own little dungeon. I'd rather stay there, and not get caught up in anything else TikTok related. I don't even I hope to become like forgotten in a sense, right? Because I watch craziness of TikTok. I watch craziness of TikTok while I'm at work, and this shit is crazy. I do not want to be anywhere near that. I'm telling you. Listen, no amount of blackmail is going. Don't get me. I'm probably going to eventually like come back on TikTok. As you can tell, this stream went kind of perfectly. No skips, no whatever. That's because I finally got my whole computer information set up. So this is going. So this is going by smoothly. I'm excited for that. So I got more space to do a lot of shit. I'm also probably going to be doing also games as well. So just to mix it up. Yeah, I finally got my desktop. So it's been going smoothly. Thank goodness. Yeah, I'll probably be doing a lot of other things. I'll probably be doing video games as well. Probably video gaming probably only on like Twitch or something. I don't think I'll do both platforms for both. Uh, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I'll eventually probably go back on TikTok. I'll see if I can add TikTok on OBS and stream it on OBS. Because if I go back with TikTok, I'd rather just do my own lives. I'd rather not do the whole, jumping on other people's panels. I'll leave that to everybody else. I'd rather just do my own lives and actually have it about conversation, not drama. About, stuff that's important to me. Or stuff that's important, who I think is important. So, yeah. Yeah, I did see that. I did see that video. I did see that craziness video. I did see that. I, hey, I guess for me, because like I remember it like yesterday that incident happened in my life. Um, but yeah, it did go well. It went better. It went better than I thought it was when I was watching. I was like, okay, so people are having this moment where they understand. They finally get the whole fucking story, right? And like I don't know. That's like I believe Peach had mentioned that you guys, if whatever you guys handle, and hopefully you take them up on their offer, and then like I guess have a side combo. I don't know. That's up to you. But I mean, in my opinion, I mean like I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them, but like at least yeah, I agree. Yeah, at least I would. I don't know. Not that I wouldn't trust him. I can understand that everybody was used by Jones in this case. I know everybody was used. I knew that he was like the problem. I'm just saying that, I feel like there's certain things that's been said, the damage has been done, and it's difficult to get and I don't know if there's any comeback from that. Yeah, you can understand, you can probably finally understand the truth and that you weren't what they were calling you. And so, but at the same time, the damage has been done. Your business was harmed. So it's like, I personally wouldn't even care. That's me personally. I wouldn't even give a shit anymore. Because, like, what's the point? I'm not getting anything back. And you just ran with this fucking narrative. It's glad that everybody can see the fucking truth, that all you guys were full of shit. But, I wouldn't, me personally, I wouldn't accept that. But it's not mine to take. Exactly. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Your own, your own clarity, your own peace of mind, knowing that you're vindicated and you weren't crazy. Everybody else, my opinion, and I'll say this. I'll say this about that entire situation. My opinion is that they were just too pussy to actually tell you what they should have just fucking told you to begin with. They are too fucking pussy to say that. I said that when I was on my live, because ironically, the craziness recording of my live came up right after that. Ironically, I guess because it was like kind of similar. I don't know. But it ironically came up. And that's basically what they were too fucking pussy to say, hey, they don't want it. They don't want it. Leave them alone. Whatever the fuck. That's more fucking exactly. That's what I'm about to say. That's more weird than anything else. I would be damned if my friend tells me that they're uncomfortable with an individual, and then when I confront that individual, I'm sorry, and I confront this individual, or I have an opportunity to confront this individual, I will tell this person to leave my friend alone. I will tell that person, my friend does not X, Y, and Z, want to fuck with you, want to do whatever, no, XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. That's what I would have done as a friend. But, you know, I mean, like, I can't, I guess, I mean, like, I guess not all friends are actually friends. They don't go the extra fucking mile. So, it's an unfortunate incident. Personally, fuck them. I would have said fuck the you know, everything else, but like it's not mine's. It's not my apology or whatever to accept. So yeah. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. They were pussies to begin with. They're still pussies now. I just looking at everything that's happening, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I do feel bad that I'm actually upset at what happened with Jones' situation. Not necessarily because it happened to Jones, but because of the victims involved. I'm upset that once again there are women that were being taken advantage of. There were people that were lied to, you know, by a man. It's just straight up bullshit. No different. I hate it when people preach that they're against red pill ideology, but then go ahead and then show red pill, you know, ideology. Like that's red pill 101. When you make women feel uncomfortable, when you do this to your friends, when you make people, it's stupid like shit. I don't even really want to get into it. You're perpetuating it it's no different. You have lives about this. You talk to people about this. You yell at people on your lives about this, and then you're just fucking doing this. This happens way too often, and Phoenix, I'm telling you, it's gonna happen again. I don't know who it is, but something tells me it's gonna happen again because there's always a skeleton in a fucking closet, and somebody's always not telling you the truth, which is why I always say, don't believe people you can't shake your hands with. If you can't shake their hand, don't trust them. If you don't know the name of their child, don't trust them. Right? That's my opinion. That's my approach. So, yeah, that's how I protect myself in my peace. So, but yeah, I'll probably be back on TikTok, but it won't be till I don't know whenever. But I'll eventually come back. Eventually. Yeah. See? Yeah, exactly. We all fuck with Ruffles. All right. Thank you for showing up. That was my end of the stream rant. I'm done with it. I'll probably be back on later. Not later tonight, but tomorrow. Maybe later if I ain't doing shit. But thank you for coming out to the stream. I'll probably post some of these. I'll probably clip some of the things that I went over today on my YouTube page. So I got a few clips on the YouTube page. Check out the YouTube page. Blah blah blah. Yakety smackety. So yeah.